Hello, everybody. I think I stole how you say it. You usually go, hello, everybody.
Is that what I do?
Sometimes.
Or I say, hello, everybody?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We're here to teach you.
Yay.
Well, Julia's here to teach you. I'm here to learn.
Jacob's here to help me out on this here stream. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
I'm here to relax.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Jacob.
I'm going to sit back here and vape.
Vape? Like all the cool kids do during class.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
vape
cool
in the back
kids.
of the class.
Thanks for supporting the Patreon and for signing up for this learner tier. Or if you're watching the VOD of this in a month, maybe sign up for the Patreon Discord, where then we announce what the class is, usually a few weeks ahead of time, so that you have time to get in, bump up your subscription to the learner tier, and then you can bump it down whenever you want.
That's true.
That's true.
If you see something you feel like you want to participate in the chat,
yeah,
it's good to bump up so you can be here live. And sometimes we even look at the chat's work.
That's true.
Not this time, I don't think.
Nope.
But sometimes. So
Not this
that's
time.
why you got to monitor the Patreon Discord with the eyes of an eagle.
Yeah.
To know what we're going to be doing.
And you can be part of the Discord at even the lowest tier.
$2
$2
per month is the lowest tier, and it is available to you.
But thank you to our current viewers for being here, for hanging out, and for participating in this class.
They've already passed the vibe check.
Yeah.
They've already supported.
Yeah.
I got nothing more to say to them other than thank you.
Uh-huh.
And keep killing it out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're doing character design today. I did a character design class before, but I think that I just did like a general overview character design class. What would be smart is if I went back and watched that one. But this one is for, in the context of a story. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I said in the other class and, add some new things here. So I'm excited to get into it.
I'm sure you got a lot of thoughts on this because of Drawtectives.
I do.
Where you made a lot of characters that are meant to, elicit certain responses when you see them. Yeah.
I kind of go through my process.
It's motorcycle time.
Motorcycle time. It's Friday, baby. I kind of go through like what goes through my mind when I'm designing a character. I go through some very basic things, and then I do a breakdown of a show and their character designs, and then we will be designing a character on the fly. We'll be designing multiple characters on the fly today. So enjoy that.
I'll enjoy it.
I got a randomly generated mystery plot, and we're going to make characters based off of that plot that we got.
Oh, that's fun. It's kind of like a little mini Drawfee episode.
Yeah. And like, it's how I would tackle that plot if it were like a Drawtectives thing. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Should we?
Let's get going on it. I'm ready.
Okay.
Flip the camera over. To your presentation.
Yep. Here it is. Character design for the purposes of a story. I also want to say that I was writing this thing like about 5 minutes before. I was finishing it up 5 minutes before the stream started, but I did most of it last night. So there might be some spelling errors because I am a spelling idiot.
As long as the meaning is there,
yeah,
that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can't talk about character design without talking. No, that's the end of this class.
Oh God.
Goodbye, class.
I really thought we could.
Anyway, thanks for being part of the Patreon. No, so we have to talk about shape language. And shape language, there's just some universal truths in the human collective brain when it comes to two very basic shapes, and it's circles and triangles, which is what a lot of, character designs are based off of. Even like the bean, I would say, categorizes as a circle.
Yeah, bean's just two circles.
Yeah.
Touching with a skin put around them.
Ew. But you're right.
That's just the reality. I'm not afraid to say it.
It's like peas in a pod.
Yeah.
But only two of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, things that are soft are usually things that you want to interact with. Things that are touchable, that's why buttons are usually round, because it says, hey, interact with me. But things that are sharp, no touch. No touch, it's bad. Like knives.
Yep. Spikes in video games, they're just triangles.
Handle on the knife, round.
Touch that.
Touch that. Don't touch this.
Blade of the knife, triangle. Don't touch that.
No touch. No touch, it pain. I literally wrote, no touch, it pain. I have to unfurl this. That's right. Each folder has 1 million folders in it.
Whoa, subfolders.
Yeah. So, typically you want to keep your friends close and danger away. And as we just discussed, circles, friend-shaped, triangles, danger-shaped. So that means that if we apply that very basic knowledge, the friendly things, the things you want to keep around, soft, round. Even the corners of this little guy's mouth, rounded. Beautiful. Rounded. I know that there's like little points here, but generally pretty round.
But I feel like those points are to give you a clue.
Yeah.
As to that he's not all friendly, this fella.
Yes. So, but in general, you look at him and you go, oh, squishy.
Yeah.
So if you break it down, dog is squishy and friendly. But the villain shape, you don't want to keep this guy around.
No.
Spoiler, they're the same guy.
Yeah.
These two guys.
We all have one of these and both of these inside of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Me on the weekend. Me on by the end of the week of a work week.
That's right. This is you today.
This is me today. If it were like an exhausted puddle, that would be me.
Yeah.
But if you compare this guy with the rounded shape, he ends in a lot of points. He's got a lot of points here. Even his pupil's a point. He's like a series of triangles. I know there's like connecting shapes here, but the base shape are these triangles.
Yeah.
And then, you got the teeth and the pupils, and the ears are very pointy. They're not so rounded. There's children absolutely screaming outside. It's
gonna be one of those days.
It's Friday, school's out. That's it. It's time to honk. It's Halloween on Monday. Here's like a friendly, complex character, a more complex design. You got Link here. Link, I would say, is more complex than, our little circle buddy here. Link's got a lot going on. This is Link from Hyrule Warriors. But all of his features are rounded. Like his eyes are rounded, even the edges of the armor here are rounded. His face is round, the tips of his ears are rounded, his head shape very round. He egg.
Why'd you say he's so soft like chicken?
His hair's so soft like chicken.
Why like chicken?
'Cause I don't know, it looked like a chicken wing. Like a soft.
You say hair soft like chicken, then you say head is egg. Which came first?
It's thematically connected.
Yeah.
Egg and chicken.
Egg and chicken.
That is the design of Link. He's a little farm boy. Should we close some of these windows?
Maybe. I'll close this window.
Okay.
Apparently it's fucking honk o'clock.
It's honk o'clock and blast music o'clock, and everybody's ready for the weekend. What is happening? Anyway, Link soft and touchable. You know, you wanna hang out with him. You wanna be him.
But I feel like Link too. He's soft, but he has, much like the other friend we saw, he has a couple sharp features.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty bits later.
But it seems to give you that feeling of soft guy who might have to do a hurt.
That's true. I have a section for that exactly.
I won't jump the gun then.
Unfriendly, complex, not friendly. I do not want to interact with him. But just look how many spikes he is.
Yeah, he's mostly spikes.
He's mostly spikes. This is triangle. This is triangle. Every finger a triangle. This triangles.
His hair is triangle points.
His shape. He's got that Dorito bod.
Dorito bod.
So you look at him and you go, "Oh, I probably don't want to hang out with you, spiky boy. You're probably like a villain."
Yeah. You can't hug him.
Can't hug him. Let's break the rules a little bit. Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
You know, he's still his base shape pretty soft. But man's got radiator hair.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I feel like it's a very Japanese character design tenet. Of take a soft boy and put some spikes on his head.
That's true, yes. Give him a little bit of an edge.
To show, softness with an edge.
Yes, there's that sort of balance there. But overall, he actually egg.
Yeah.
Hair not soft like chicken, though.
No, hair hard like radiator.
Hair hard like radiator. His hair also like helps with all the, the point things.
Yeah.
Helps with like that action and
And it makes it look like he's moving forwards.
Yes. Always. Always moving forwards.
Chasing the truth.
Then we got the villain. I forget what her name is. Dahlia? I think her name's Dahlia.
Could be.
She's from like the first game or something.
I think she's from Trials and Tribulations based on the portion of the logo I can see. I think Trials and Tribulations is the second one.
It's Ace at Trials.
Ace at Trials.
Happy for them.
Yeah. Dahlia Hawthorne.
Dahlia Hawthorne. Thank you. So Dahlia Hawthorne, when you initially meet her, she's very soft. There's a lot of round shapes here for sure, but it's all being kind of sliced up by all of these angles. She is actually like a series of points. She's a series of triangles. Her umbrella's triangles, her shirt's triangles, her chin is very pointy. Her hair is even like, reinforcing the pointiness of her chin by making the same shape.
They're like hidden triangles.
Yeah, because she presents as Phoenix's girlfriend or something. But then, she turns out, spoiler alert, to be the villain. The villain of this trial, So she's got hidden triangles. She's got hidden edge.
Wow.
All right, that's it for section 1. Section 2, let's talk about characters. There are some things with writing characters that are true, and these are very basic statements because we'll, again, get into the nitty-gritty later. But generally, protagonists are someone you want to root for. They're usually want to root for your friends. Antagonists are someone you typically don't want to root for, whether you agree with them or not. You're like, yeah, but you can't do it this way, usually find some contention with this character. Usually want to like fight them a little bit on what they're doing. So if you talk about shape language and what we just talked about, here you go. Circles are usually for protagonists, and angles are usually for antagonists. Circles, protagonists, things I want to keep around. The meme says. Right there.
The meme says, you're right.
The meme says.
If the meme says it, it's true.
If the meme says it, it's true. So, we could talk about supporting details. You know, we talked a little bit about how, you know, you have those like reinforcing details in the character design, like when we're talking about the, what's the enemy cat's name? The one that transforms?
I'll never remember that.
Yeah, whatever that dude's name is, you know, you got those like sharp pointy teeth, things like that. Things that like reinforce details about them. Or Dahlia's, you know, angled hair, you know, hinting at, you know, something more, things like that. So your characters are going to be more than just good and bad. A good character should have a history or a story. So you're going to want to think about your character's details. In a story, a good character's details are used to show the motivations or set an expectation for the character. A character that looks gentle and caring can either enforce that they are actually gentle and caring, or if you really want to contrast it, you know, that lets you say like, hey, this person's really suspicious, that you set this expectation that this character is going to be this way, and then they turn out to be not that, and then that kind of like throws you off. So then you go, oh, what else is this character about? A little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like a gruff-looking person covered in face scars makes the audience think like, oh, they have like a big history of fights, or they've really been through it, which makes your audience feel like they've done a deduction, or they've noticed something about the character, or you know, that then they start to have an expectation. And then you can reinforce it by saying like, yeah, they have been in a lot of fights. And then you're like, oh, okay, so this character is fighty. You know, this character is probably gonna, if there's a situation for a fight, maybe they'll get into it. Or maybe that character has been in so many fights that now that a fight is happening, they like kind of want to try to avoid, which says something else, which says like that they had a bad one, or maybe they're over it, or maybe they grew as a person. Right? Or you could say that they got into like an accident or something that left them scarred, which then, because we already have that expectation of this character being like, you know, hard and tough and fighty, and then that it's like, oh, it's actually because of no fault of your own. It like actually kind of throws it down a little bit, because then you're like, oh, now I kind of feel bad for this character because I did put that on them, and now they're like, they didn't do that to themselves. So now you have like a much softer view than if they came in with like no scars to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, because no scars to begin with is neutral. You know, and then, I don't know, there's something about the subversion that makes it kind of tip the scales more to one direction. Like, it doesn't set them to neutral, it sets them to like soft.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like when you design a character, you've got a flow chart. And it's like, make the character look a certain way, and then you can either go down to reinforce expectations based on appearance, or subvert expectations based on appearance. And you don't have to even stick with just one of those, like you were saying. Yeah. You can like subvert it by reinforcing that that's how it used to be. Like you said with the fighty guy. Yeah. Maybe he's not fighting anymore because he used to fight so much and now doesn't want to anymore. Yeah. And so you can do all sorts of wiggly snakies with your character history flowchart based on their appearance. Yeah, it's basically like you have to just explain. Nothing in character design is ever just put there just 'cause. It's like, it's there for a reason, and it's there to reinforce the story or to say something about the character's own personal story. Like if you're going to put something in, you might as well make it useful to you as a tool. It's like the economy of storytelling. Is that what it's called? Sure. The economy of storytelling. You might as well
put in the details and show your audience and let them come to their own conclusions rather than have a whole point where you tell them outright, because it's more fun as an audience to figure that out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I have a little mini game.
Mini game?
Yeah.
I'm going to win.
It's spot the important character, the character that's going to have a story about them.
Okay.
Who could it be?
Well, let's see. Let me really look in here. Okay, top middle. You see those pigtails? That's the character.
Dang, you got it wrong.
The corkscrew pigtails.
Dang, you got it wrong,
They're gonna become a miner. Like a person who mines, not a child.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the kid with the ace bandage, the face band-aid, the multicolored hair, the hat. I don't know what the anime this is. Is this a Yu-Gi-Oh?
It simply must be, right? Or it's a Yu-Gi-Oh knockoff.
Yeah. So it's like you can make your character stand out by giving them things of, you know, all of these clothes are fairly neutral. Even this red is like a fairly neutral red, especially compared to this red.
Yeah.
That's so bright. And then it's like so saturated, you know. They have really bright eyes, wild features, unnatural hair. It kind of looks like a lobster.
It does look like a lobster.
So,
and then the character to the bottom right of them is definitely a secondary character.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I literally don't know what this anime is, and I can tell you.
Could be a Beyblade, yeah.
Oh, that's
it's gotta
true.
Be something. It's something in that child toy battling genre for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good way to show your character's importance is to have them be very different from your other characters. And this one is a harder one, but it kind of proves the point that I was just saying, or it reinforces the point in the other way.
Oh, and we're looking at
like
Komi characters.
Komi characters. Everyone in Komi is weird.
Yeah.
You have Ninja Guy, this girl who every time you see her, she's doing something kind of pervy.
Yeah, she's got like a humiliation kink.
Yeah. And then this character who is, you know, has the pink hair.
They're always yelling.
They have like a big personality. Even Komi, who has like purple hair, like stands out a little bit to us, even though she's supposed to be like the big standout character.
Yeah.
But in this show where everyone is so weird, the main character is the person who's very normal. Which is Tadano right here.
Yeah.
You know, he's got natural colored hair. He doesn't have any like wild features. He doesn't have a wild personality. He's usually the calm one.
The only thing they give him is that leaf on his head.
Yeah, like the asterisks.
Yeah.
As if to be like
he's a footnote.
Yeah, footnote, this guy, pretty normal. That was my mini game.
That's a good mini game.
Thanks. I wanted to do it with more shows, but I ran out of time. So whoops. But let's break down a cast. I saw that someone in chat, I think it was Rebecca Roney. Yeah, Rebecca Roney said, like Scar from Full Metal Alchemist. Funny you should say that. Here's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood characters.
Who could have predicted?
Who could have predicted that I would have started talking about a show that has very good character design? Very descriptive character design. Again, there were more characters in this that I wanted to talk about, but we can talk about it as we go. So, main character. Edward Ed Elric. Yeah. Meh. He's usually the only person who wears red in the show. I can't think of another character who wears red. No? Can't think of anyone.
I don't know. Don't look at me.
Okay. He wears a lot of red, which is an eye-catching color. He has a lot of contrast going on in his design where, you know, despite him being younger, he's usually like the most confident person in the room. And then because you see him smiling so much or like being so confident and showboaty, every time he's not doing that, it's like reinforces to the audience like, oh, something has happened. There's been a mood change. The Ed that I know is not here right now. His metal arm implies something's going on with him.
Yeah.
But he keeps it covered for a while in the show. Like you see a little bit of it, but it's not like always out. He's always like trying to cover it a little bit, which I think is interesting. I think he's like trying to blend in while being a little showboaty, which is like an interesting contrast. He's a fun character design. Who's also fun is Alphonse. Alphonse is he big. He literally armor. He wants to protect others. He's wider than like a typical armor set. Like no one can really fit into that thing. You know, like he's got like a wide body and then like kind of skinny arms. If you were to fit a person in there,
yeah,
like it doesn't really make sense because he's shaped more like a shield than he is armor, which means that he's not here to protect himself. He's here to protect everyone else. He's here to be everyone else's shield, which is very true to his character. But he's also one of the few characters to not be a human.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
There's the homunculi. There's the girl we will not name. We will not talk about. And that's basically it. We got, you know, the flask and things like that, but
yeah, but
it's a very small character of non-humans. Because usually, even if like the humans are a little different, they have like a prosthetic, like, you know, Ed.
And don't forget his spikes. Oh,
yes. I'm sorry. He is mostly a round shape, but he does have a little bit of an edge. He is going to fight you a little bit.
Well, I think he's a play against expectations type of character too. The first time you see him, you think he's going to be one thing.
Yeah.
And then a child's voice comes out. And then he's acting like a little kid. Mm-hmm. And it's a complete play against tropes.
Yeah.
And then you notice that they often depict him when they simplify him.
Yes.
They make him into just like a little lump with a face.
A little dot eyes.
They show you his like round side, that he's a round character in a spiky body. Yeah.
Like he doesn't really want to fight anyone, but he will.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of the characters from this show are perfectly designed, in my opinion. They're wonderful. Winry, there's better pictures of Winry, but again, I was kind of rushing.
You're doing fine. You gotta keep making excuses.
I just feel bad. So, and Zappy also points out that everyone thinks that Alphonse is the Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, because he's made of full metal.
Yeah, but he's like very much not. Like he's skilled, but he's nowhere near as skilled as his brother.
Yeah.
You know, who's like the short king.
Yeah.
I really like Winry's design because she is, she's a girl. They're all like, I don't know, they're all very young in the show. But, you know, she's a very talented mechanic. So she's dressed, you know, in the coveralls, but, you know, then she's working in her shop all day, so she gets a little hot. So she, you know, takes it off and then ties it at her waist so that she can cool off a little bit, but she's trying to keep her hair out of her face. But she still cares about her appearance a little bit because, you know, people be looking at her. She wants to have a little bit of styling, so she has her hair out a little bit. She's got those piercings. She's got a bunch of piercings, which the piercings like imply a sort of toughness to her, having more metal on her without her actually being, having prosthetics like Ed. Shows you that she does work around, metal in general. But they're not like very ornate earrings either. So she doesn't care that much. She just has them in a little bit because of her interest and things like that. I really like Winry's design. Roy's fun because he is, I don't know. I think you kind of write him off the first time you see him. You're kind of like, oh, he's gonna be the soldier guy, whatever. But he's actually like a very complex character with very cool motivations. He's always like, standing. He has like really good posture. His uniform is usually like impeccable. He never really like cuts corners with any of those things. But then his personality, he's very like showboaty. So you're like, there's got to be something in between there that's going on with him. Also, before you know anything about like how alchemy works, this is very interesting because he doesn't have that on here. And no one else has that mark or a mark on their gloves.
Yeah, it draws your attention right to the hand.
Yeah.
And he's always like, even in this pose, drawing attention towards the hand.
Yeah. He's ready to use it. There's something different about him. I wanted to talk about Scar, which was brought up earlier. I like Scar because he's fairly simple in his design. Which I think is fun, because he is such a complicated character at the get-go, but I think it's to lull you into thinking that it's very straightforward. Like, he doesn't have a lot, like, oh, this guy's clearly the villain, and then you find out about his backstory, and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
War is complicated.
Yeah.
He has a big X on his face, he has a bunch of spikes, but it's all like, it's on the surface. He's very pointy, he's very sharp, but again, his shapes are pretty round. Everything about him's pretty round. Even the shape that his cloak's making is round. He's not very villainous.
And I like his clothes too, because once you know more about him, it's like they look like clothes that someone who was wearing whatever it was they could find to wear.
Yeah.
Like someone who's a refugee, like someone who doesn't own a wardrobe.
Who's like, that's not what's important to them.
Yeah.
Or they can't get.
Yeah, they don't have access to
yeah, exactly.
clothes in the same way.
Yeah. Father is just so pointy. He's also like unnatural looking compared to all the other. Whoa, look at this guy.
Hello.
Let's ignore the man in the corner. But he's got all these spikes, he's got all these veins. No one else is as veiny as this. Even when you look at characters who are very muscular, like Armstrong. Armstrong is jacked, but he's not he's not like veiny.
No.
Veiny, it's like kind of like monstrous.
He's round muscly.
He is round muscly.
This guy's like dangerous looking.
Yes. There's something about the veins that go like there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to interact with him.
I hate to say this, but I have to.
What's up?
The little guy in the corner kind of looks like Father dressed his weenie up in a little outfit.
Well, now I'm going to have to censor it.
It's not what it is. It just looks like that.
Now, is this going to make this worse?
Yes.
Looking. Whoa.
I have a tone brush on.
You sure do. Chat's just saying Jacob. Oh, no, that made it worse.
That made it worse.
That made it.
Just leave him. Just leave him.
That made it so much worse. Okay. Great. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about literally any of the characters. I like the What's it called? Dwarf in the Flask.
Yeah.
He's great. He's like a rounded shape, but the shape that his eyes and mouth make are like very twisted and very like forced and pushed.
Yeah. It implies something dangerous that has been put into a undangerous body.
It's very unnatural looking.
Yeah. Like something scary trapped in a weak form is the feeling it gives you.
Yeah, I think it's like the contrast of shapes in that his body is so soft and friend shaped, but then like his features are not.
Yeah.
And you're like, one of these things is being forced.
Yeah.
One of these things is trying to lead us in a direction. It's great. You can look at, I mean, just look at the characters and come to your own conclusions. It's just like, it's just a perfect cast to learn about character design from, I think. Okay. So, I did a randomly generated plot. Whoops.
Let's think.
Let's think of characters together. So the story prompt that I got is, it's a procedural story about a decades-old cold case. It kicks off at a hospital with someone falling suddenly ill.
That says a hotel.
Did I say hospital?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm broken, man.
'Cause I'm broken.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have this font. That's fine.
It'll just replace it with a similar font.
Fair.
It still works okay.
Yeah. So I left, part of this blank and open and things like that so that we could brainstorm together. Have it be interactive.
Yeah.
So the kind of characters that every story needs, we need the main character. In this case, we need like the culprit, who's the antagonist.
I'm gonna grab a drink. I'll be right back.
Oh my God. Your water bottle doesn't have water in it?
Well, I want a seltzer.
Oh, I was mostly pointing that out in case you wanted to fill your water bottle. Water bottle. So, again, it says a procedural story, so we need, like, the culprit. Everyone's honking. That was a beautiful song. Yes.
Hello.
So, then we have the supporting characters. There can be other characters. We can throw some in there. But those are the characters that are kind of mandatory.
Yes.
There's also like the red herring.
They probably can't hear most of the honking, so...
I was thinking, and then I was just...
Oh, okay.
We can have an antagonist who's not necessarily the main villain, the main culprit, the main baddie, kind of like, in Full Metal Alchemist, you have Scar, who turns out to be misunderstood and isn't actually the main villain. Unlike
Scar in The Lion King, who was not misunderstood.
That's true. That's a good point, is that you can have a character who's like, who who you do feel bad for, but is still the villain.
Yeah,
you can still go
villain.
Yeah, you can go, oh, like I understand why you're the way that you are, but you still suck.
Yeah.
And they're still the villain. Like Bane or Loki. Those are good ones.
Yeah, I mean, people love Loki.
People love Loki, but Loki is still bad.
Yeah.
Loki's still bad.
He's bad because childhood. Ice Giant.
We're all a little bad because of childhood. So what kind of characters would this location have? We would have like the front... Your keyboard always takes me a moment to adjust to.
It's not my fault.
We have the person who works the front desk. We have maybe like the cleaning staff. We have like bellhops. Are they still called bellhops?
The bellhops they still got those?
I think they still got those.
In like the same way they used to?
I think in like the fancy places.
Maybe.
What else? We got other
like hotel guests.
Other guests, thank you. We have other guests.
Do we have a detective? Who's the pro tag? I guess we're not getting to that yet.
No, I just want to talk about like the place that like this setting,
location.
like the hotel. Like what would the hotel? I just want to like put on the table what we have to work with here. We have maybe like the chef. We have like the bartender.
Probably like the hotel owner, like big wig sort of guy.
Hotel bigwigs. I think that's like good to start off with.
Sure.
You know. So now that we have that initial brainstorm going on, where we lay out like what very basically we have to work with. I want to break down the story prompt. Kicks off at a hotel with someone falling suddenly ill. Suddenly implies that they weren't sick before, at least visibly. And then kicks off at a hotel means that like that's where we start. It didn't like get brought in. Or maybe we have like, you know, seen characters walking into the hotel or something like that, you know, because if you show anything that would be before the hotel, then maybe that would imply to your audience that they didn't get sick necessarily in the hotel. And if you want the story to be encapsulated in the hotel, you would want them to be sick there.
Yeah.
You know, because also like, again, if you're going to show a location before that, what's the purpose of showing that initial location? Because of, you know, economy of storytelling.
Yeah. And we don't have to get too deep into that because it's not a character design portion. No. But I like to break down sort of like the bullet points of a story because it'll tie in a minute. Decades old cold case. Something in the story has to connect back with the cold case. Could be a character, could be the illness is very specific, a very specific, like rare illness that barely ever happens, but has happened in this hotel. We need something to drive us to that past case. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing right off the bat. Of like whoever got suddenly ill, got ill with something that is very specific and has only happened once before. Mm-hmm. With this case where they ruled it as one thing, but now that it's happened again, like maybe we got to rethink it. Exactly.
So another thing we should think of, just generally floating in the back of our brain, it's let's decide on like the area, the area type, which is like, you know, are we in a city? Are we in a seaside town? Are we in a small town? Are we in an old town? Are we in a modern one? You know, et cetera, et cetera.
The 3 types of towns.
City, towns, and towns. Yeah.
I just like, listen, you got to pick. Is it a seaside town, a small town, or an old town?
There's no other towns.
Okay?
There's no other.
There's no other towns.
I dare you to name one other town.
Big town.
That's a city. That's a city, you jerk.
Oh, no.
That's a city.
No.
So determining that will determine, you know, how sort of the direction we need to dress most of the cast, or at least, you know, like what we did in the minigame, how we're going to dress all these characters that aren't the main character, because something that is easy to help push a story is contrast. So if you want to say, hey, this character is important, have them stand out against the norm, like this guy and his weird chip in his hat versus all these normies. There's a truck. let's think of the cast. The people who are here at the setting all need to have a reason to be here. And that's part of like the dressing. Wait, is this prompt just Beacon Pines? I did get a prompt. What was the prompt that I got? It was just
I've already forgotten.
one of the prompts that was suggested to me was something that was like hyper specific to a movie we had just watched.
Yeah, my brain is...
It's Friday, man.
I feel like I forget things so fast sometimes. That just happened.
Yeah.
Earlier today.
Yeah, it sure did.
Oh, well.
Oh. Anyway, so one of the characters we have to have for the story is the detective. It's a procedural story. So let's break down what, kind of the rules for a protagonist or the detective of the story. Kind of where my head goes is the detective doesn't have to be here because of the setting. This character can be the one outlier who doesn't need an excuse. The excuse is the case happened here.
Yeah, and that also allows them to be the viewer surrogate.
Yes.
In that they're coming in from the outside to a place they haven't seen, much like you, the viewer, are, to put the mystery together.
Yeah. So that's why you need to think of like the era or general setting, because that's how you're going to have to dress the detective. Because the detective is probably going to look more like, the people who live here than the people who are just visiting this hotel. They're not going to, the detective's not going to be dressed like a tourist.
Yeah.
He's going to be dressed like someone who belongs in this setting. They could be here on vacation, but that's like so coincidental that you need to come up with a very good reason as to why they're there. As to why, like, they just so happen to be there during a case, which you can do. And it is like a trope. But it always like takes my brain a moment to be like, oh, well, that's convenient.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Like Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah. Like, just so happens
that fucking...
What's his face is on there.
Poirot.
Yeah.
Was on the train.
Is
that what happens in that one? He's on the train, right?
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
World's best detective just so happens to be on this train where a complex crime has happened. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It is a good, like... It is cool, though, because their presence could be something that the criminal didn't expect, which, like, this would have been the perfect crime and they would have gotten away for it had there not been this, like, totally coincidental thing that happens. And that happens a lot with, like, evidence, too. Like, totally coincidentally, the detective brought their dog and the dog dug up the, evidence that was buried in the backyard.
The dog dug up the gun and shot the criminal. Yeah.
And then they, looked in the pocket of the criminal and said, I did it.
Yeah.
So the suddenly ill person is a really interesting character to me because that person can be so many things. It can be like, we need to determine what role they fulfill. They could be totally innocent victim of a crime or a victim of just happenstance. But did they do this to themselves? Do we want them to be a more important character? Why did they do that? What's the point of that? And does it, again, tie into the cold case? If so, then maybe they did it to blame the crime on someone else to get them arrested and out of the picture, which is something that can unfold, Maybe it's like this person knew who, caused the illness from the past, or maybe, was the doctor that failed to treat the initial person with the mysterious illness. And now this sick person wanted to do like a revenge thing, and kind of pin it as a crime on this doctor who failed to save like a relative or something.
Yeah.
To draw attention to the old case. fake it to be like the old case? Why would they want to bring attention to the old case? Was it someone they knew, a family member? Why did they care? These questions are really kind of important to ask yourself because you can do a lot of fun things with the dressing of them or the design of them. You can make them like, if they're not that important, then you can make them very basic. Or you can make them look very obviously like, yeah, no, you were always destined to be someone who is a sick person, who's, who would get a mysterious illness while on vacation and die,
Yeah.
Or you can have them dressed like, if it is to pin the crime on someone and it's like as revenge for someone who years ago was here, maybe they're dressed like that person. And then you find a clue later and it's like a photograph of that person. They're just exactly like this now sick person. And you're like, why? Like now you're starting to, connect the dots.
Yeah.
So let's draw.
Drawtective?
Is my glove in that top drawer?
All right, place your bets, everyone. Will the glove
is the glove actually in the correct
be in the
spot?
drawer? Hey!
I never put it back where it belongs. It's never there.
This is a miracle.
This is a miracle.
This class is blessed.
Okay. So, I guess we should decide on the setting.
Yeah, we needed to figure out the era.
Yeah, do we want it to be like
1300s?
Okay. Whoops. Okay, I'm just gonna. Okay. Friends are eggs.
This is a clown. You're drawing. What is it? Why is his head turned like that? Is he a monk?
Yes.
Is he a friar?
He's writing notes on some parchment. There we go. There's the detective.
Easy mode.
What if we do like let's do an easy one. Let's do like a hotel in Paris. In the now.
Uh-huh.
Right. In the now.
Yeah.
So we need to design the detective. So the detective is from the city. Let's say it's like a ritzy hotel.
So do we want to have, because here's an option we have to decide, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be, because sometimes they like to do, if it's a hotel in the country, detective comes from the city. Mm-hmm. If it's a hotel in the city, detective comes from another city or another country or the country.
Right.
Like how fish out of water do you want the detective to be? Or should he be like where he sort of fits in with the society of the hotel that he's in?
Let's do a fancy hotel in New York City and we'll have him from New York City.
Okay, New York detective, New York hotel. So he's acquainted with the people of New York.
Yeah.
He knows this city.
So I want him to be like the audience surrogate. I want him to be like, you are meeting all of these people with this guy. You know the rules of this world. These people, how do they fit into it?
Okay. So we're not focusing on the detective's otherness in this one.
I mean, should we?
No, it wasn't like a critique. That was the statement I was making.
Should we?
Based on what we said. Like, we're making a detective who belongs in this setting and who knows it well.
Yeah.
So that it's going to be, I feel like that makes it more focused on the other characters.
Yeah.
And the crime.
Yeah.
Rather than focusing on, like when you watch like Knives Out, for instance, you're focused on Benoit Blanc because he's a massive weirdo.
But everyone's weird in that movie.
Yeah, but he's like, it's a character-driven plot.
Right.
But he's not like, he is an audience surrogate, but you also recognize that he's not like you. Mm-hmm. He's like got this crazy accent. He's going off on all these tangents about donuts and shit.
Is the audience surrogate the girl?
The like main character girl? Yeah. I would say she's more of the audience surrogate, I think, than Benoit Blanc is.
Yeah.
But I think that what we're describing here is a detective who is more of the audience surrogate.
Yeah. So we want someone who's like pretty... I'm not going to like focus too much on face because again, this isn't like... I'm not writing the next season of Draw Detectives right here.
What are we thinking? Young detective? We thinking old detective? We thinking middle-aged detective? Because that also informs the character design. Is he a young detective eager to prove himself?
Yeah.
Or is he an old detective past his prime, trying to show that he's still worth something?
Like Seven. Seven's a really good one to talk about character design. You have old, grizzled Morgan Freeman.
And young, fiery Brad Pitt.
Yeah. There's a woodpecker outside our window.
Woodpecker, what do you think?
What do you think, woodpecker?
Okay, bye.
All right. Doesn't think anything. So, yeah, Morgan Freeman, grizzled, old, wants to be over it, is close to retirement. Then you got young Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Young Brad Pitt, who's like very eager to prove himself.
A little overeager, perhaps. They each have lessons to learn in the film.
I think if we have a story that's, decades old cold case, it would be interesting. We could use like his age as like I've been around, I've heard about this case. Or we could have him be young and be like, I've never heard about this case.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been around as long.
I feel like there's two fun angles.
Yeah.
Like you said, old detective could even have worked the original case and could be the detective that was like, we need to keep chasing this, but was told by the powers that be, let it go years ago. So it was always in the back of his mind ever since then.
Yeah.
Or young detective going through the cold cases, finds it and says, there's got to be something more here. But they tell him, you leave that one alone. That one's dead. Young detectives develops, sort of an obsession with this case from the past that he wasn't a part of and is eager to like prove himself by solving it.
I think let's go with young detective, because having a detective who worked on the original case and then has, and then if we have characters who are like tying it into already themselves, the original cold case, that's like a lot of coincidence and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
That's like, and then there were none sort of planning.
Yeah.
So
young detective, maybe he doesn't know about the case going in, finds the old case after he takes the new case. Starts connecting the dots.
Yeah, he like starts looking into the history of this place, and then he's like, wait a second, this happened already.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're going to start with the egg base. We're going to start with an egg base.
Making an egg drop detective.
Dream drop distance detective. Maybe he's like, very, very clean and pristine looking, like.
Yeah.
Very straight nose, like he's a straight shooter. Goes straight to the point. He doesn't.
He's the type of character in movies that I like to call a young neutral.
Yeah. And what if he has like big bright eyes?
He's like a character creator.
Yeah.
Preset number 1.
Yeah, this is your male preset number 1. Because I think it's fun to have a character, like a character who's young and new to the case as we are, because then we get to have as much information as he does.
Yeah.
that's like we get to solve it with him.
Important question.
What's up?
Just thinking ahead here to the hairstyle.
Yeah.
Feel like very important.
Yeah.
I feel like when you got a young neutral detective, you got two options.
Yeah.
You have immaculately coiffed hair that shows that he's like fresh on the scene, taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
Trying to maybe, push himself to appear as older and more knowing than he is. Or you got the old scruffy bedhead detective who's sort of like the bright-eyed puppy type, eager, excited, but a little frazzled with his going around questioning. The kind of detective who kind of like when we watched that Korean movie.
Oh, Memories
of
Murder.
And the city detective comes in and he's like kind of a weird, quiet, scraggly haired dude.
Yeah. Man, that movie was good. Yeah, I think for the interest of showing character design, we're going to have this dude be clean, simple, eager, taking care of himself, wants to do his best on the job.
What would you say is the way that he's making me feel tonight, if you had to?
Cared for.
You really didn't want to play into my joke, did you? Simple and clean, Julia.
Yeah.
Why did you abandon me?
I thought cared for was funny. Okay. So his hair. We talked about detective hair a little bit. And I think... There we go.
We're back in the 1300s, baby.
It was all a trick.
It was a trick. He's time traveled from the 1300s.
We all know that hairstyles for the 1300s are mullets, according to The Last Duel or whatever it was called.
Oh yeah, where every character had a mullet. The movie where they were like, let's see how nasty we can make Matt Damon, Ben Affleck,
yeah,
and freaking
Adam
Driver look.
Yeah. What a wild time. I do want to see it a little bit. So, hairstyle. Do we want to give him like... He points to the chart and he says, I'll have the same haircut I've been having since I was born that my mother chose for me. What do we think?
Well, I feel like if he's detective, new detective on the case, on the job, he's going to have like the slick back.
Yeah.
The detective slick back. Because, he's seen movies.
Oh, right. So you think he's like motivated by movies?
He's trying to look like a detective.
Yeah. I always wanted to become a detective because I saw him in the movies and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something about him that can change over the course of the story.
Yeah. Like as he gets more frazzled, like he's like little bits of hair sticking out.
Flyaways.
Yeah. Maybe like, the back of his hair is popping up a little bit.
And then by the end, he's got bald on the top, fringe around the sides.
That's the way we like to monk.
Look.
He just becomes truly monk.
He becomes monk, the greatest detective.
He heard about the world's greatest detective being monk, and he was like,
say no more.
I'll have the friar tuck.
And they were like, I think we should say a little more. And he's like, nope, say no more. I need no more information.
They go, but how about, no, shh. Just the friar tuck.
Give me the monk.
Give me the monk. So, If he's like here to focus on the case, he's gonna like have, you know, the suit that's really like crisp and clean, and
he's a crispy fella.
He's a crispy fella.
I think he's gonna have to learn some things about how dirty crime solving can get,
or like how things aren't so straightforward.
Yeah.
That he's gotta get creative. He's gotta get a little loosey goosey. That, you know, crime ain't so cut and dry. That's my New York accent.
Looking like you solve a crime and solving a crime are two different things.
Yeah. I like that.
And he's gonna find out.
Okay.
When he's got to see what's in the box. It's a disease.
Okay. So
this looks like a Ken doll.
I mean, I kind of designed him to be a little Ken dolly.
Yeah.
You know, audience surrogate.
That's not a bad thing.
Crisp and clean, simple and clean.
Yeah.
Someone you kind of want to root for, probably. Yeah.
Should he have like one? He needs like one thing.
One bit of personality.
Yeah, one bit of flair, I feel. But I'm not sure what I want it to be just yet. Maybe he's got like a special pen that he uses or something like that. Like some sort of like, he's got like a Mickey Mouse, like a Disney World Mickey Mouse pen that he uses. It's like in his pocket at all times. Which
kind of shows like a childish, like that he's still kind of childish and likes toys.
Yeah.
Or like, what if he always has like a pencil behind his ear? Like he's always ready to take down notes.
Yeah, that would work too. Mickey Mouse pen behind the ear.
Mickey Mouse pen behind the ear. Well.
Maybe you find out this was the pen he was using when he solved his first case. Maybe it was a piece of crucial evidence in the first case he ever solved.
It's hard to draw a Mickey Mouse pen without making it look like a penis.
This is my first case I solved was the bachelorette party murder. And I got this dick-shaped pen.
And I've kept it with me all these years.
Ever since.
Oh my god. I can't make it any better.
That's fine. We get the gist. This is like a concept art.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, you know, the perfect representation. We're just getting ideas down.
So let's like, you know, kind of figure out his vibe here.
I feel like he would stand very straight.
Like no hands in the pockets, maybe? Do you think he would have like a messenger bag? Has like all his notebooks in it or something?
Yeah, maybe messenger bag or both hands holding a notepad. Like some sort of like eagerness.
Yeah. Okay. So I want like...
Kind of reminds me of
very still.
We watched Mayor of Easttown, Detective Zabel.
Oh yeah.
Kind of has this vibe where he's very buttoned up, but he's a bit more youthful.
Yeah. He's like not so busted by the job yet.
Yeah. I like this idea of like a really nice detective in New York. He's a New York City detective, but he's got a Midwest attitude.
He's got that Southern hospitality to him. I think he's gonna be wearing like a long coat.
Yeah, I agree. Because you know it's New York winter. It's always winter in New York. Unless it's summer.
I feel like he's the kind of detective in the movie that says like, I don't drink coffee, I get my full 8 hours. You know, like, wow, you're still saying that, huh?
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, like this guy doesn't have a lot of story to tell. But he's still got like, you can still get the gist of him. Like he doesn't have a lot of story to tell, and that's kind of the point of him.
Yeah, you're living his story.
Yeah.
This is his story. He'll have story to tell after this.
I still want him to have like a big bag.
Yeah, I like him. Detective Sam Pearly.
Oh, I like that.
On the case.
He's cute.
He is cute. I like him. I feel like
I'm rooting for him.
this is not necessarily a good character design tip because you, the viewer, can't get this feedback. But for me, as soon as the character reaches the point where I say out loud, I like them, that's when I know that it's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, if you're designing a character, I won't be there. So I won't be able to tell you at what point I like them. So you have to decide for yourself.
Yeah.
You draw the character until you feel the warmth in your heart and you say, oh, I like them.
Yeah.
And then you know you're on the right track.
Yeah. There's also characters in shows where a character reveals themselves to be a real freak, and I'm like, my favorite.
I like them.
I'm immediately on this character's side. Okay, so the next character we kind of have to tackle would be like the person who's ill, let's say. We can do one where they are like a main character or a minor character. What if they're like a minor character that lives? I kind of like. I mean, I did this in Draw Detective season 1, but like phlegm mucosi.
Yeah.
You know, like where you look at them and you're like, oh yeah, you're like sick. In a way that I relate to.
You shouldn't be here.
Like,
I would love it if the ill person is just like constantly whining. Also.
Yeah.
Sort of like, oh, I just feel so bad.
Oh, this mysterious illness.
What do you mean I'm gonna die? Oh, come on. I had tickets to the Lion King.
Man, tickets for Lion King on Broadway.
I was gonna take my ex-wife.
This guy looks like a cross between Elmer Fudd and who's the old man in Star Wars, like the latest movies that like sits on a stupid throne.
Palpatine?
It's not Palpatine. Is it Palpatine?
General fucking...
Yeah.
I keep wanting to say General Grievous. That's not him.
No.
That's the robot.
Yeah.
Emperor... his name is stupid. It's like...
Snoke,
that's it. I was gonna say it's basically like Emperor Bad. It's something like so straightforward.
Yeah.
Grand Marshal Bad Boy.
Yeah, we can give
Duke
him like...
Badman.
We'll make his like hair like kind of thin. Making a sad Charlie Brown.
Oh, now you know what Charlie Brown looks like. I don't remember.
Did that episode come out?
I don't
Is that
remember
an
if
episode?
that's in a stream or an episode.
I don't remember either. So here's like the sympathetic ill person. You're just like, oh, I hope you make it. You know? And also we're like probably not gonna interact with you because you're like useless.
There's also the type of ill person in a movie where they're like basically unconscious the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then maybe they, you know, come around towards the end and they have some vital piece of information that puts the whole thing together.
I was in the middle of writing my will, and I was just about to put a name in, and then I collapsed, and someone's name is here now.
It's not the name I was gonna write, though. It's a different one. Is that anything?
The person who put their name is General Snoke? Who the hell is that? Like,
Please take my ex-wife to the Lion King.
It was never her dream, but it was mine.
It was my dream for her to see the Lion King. She doesn't like Broadway.
Yeah, what if he's like... She hates Broadway. There's nothing she hates more.
Please take her.
But I thought maybe if I brought her, she'd change her mind. Yeah, what if he's like dressed up to go? Like he's wearing his like... He's dressed up to go, and he's got like...
Got his little suit on. His loose tie.
He's got like a camera.
A Lion King shirt.
He's wearing a little Lion King mask.
Simba
like
ears.
Yeah, like ears. Okay. Some girl's talking about Spider-Man so loudly outside. Maybe he like painted his nose to be like a little...
It might, you know, undermine the drama a little bit, but it sure does amp up the comedy.
If you have this character and this character, I'm interested.
Yeah. And Sam Perley's trying to be polite, but this guy's really hard to get information out of because he keeps like going on tangents
about the Lion King.
About the Lion King. You got me feeling like Mufasa when he fell down the cliff. And got run over by all those antelopes, and my ex-wife is like Simba, left all alone.
If I had a daughter, she'd be like Nala, in that I don't know where she is half the time.
And she's not that important.
She's really only there to get with. I've lost track on who's who is the sickness.
It's not a perfect metaphor, but this I do know, you're Timon.
If I wasn't so sick, I'd normally be all over this. And you could have like a clue on him as to, you know, like it could be like it came from the illness was tucked in a powder that was in the brochure of the Lion King, and it made you sick. Like, so maybe he has like the
last person that got this illness was also going to see the Lion King.
So that would be if he's like, you know, innocent minor character that you don't have to interview that much. Like, you kind of get the gist when you talk to him. But if they're like, you know, sick villain, then you know, maybe they don't look so like deathly sick. You know what I keep thinking about? This is a poll just for you, Jacob, basically.
I'm ready.
But like, you and I watched Vampire not too long ago.
Yeah.
There's that girl, basically. So the plot of this movie, Vampire, which if you can watch it, I would suggest it. It's a very cool movie.
It's from like the 1920s or something. It's like a German movie.
Yeah, French-German movie.
It's not a lot of plot
No.
to it.
No, it's about a town that's being controlled by a vampire.
Yeah. The plot is basically there's a vampire.
Yeah, and there's this like guy who's come to the town because he loves the occult, and he heard that there's like some weird things going on in this town.
Now this is General Snoke. This fella's snoking.
I don't know why I've made his eyes like this, but here we are.
So this might be the type that he has purposefully recreated the circumstances of the cold case.
Yeah.
Because he has a vested interest in it being solved.
Yeah, like maybe this one, the person who got the mysterious illness before
was like related to him or something.
Was like his wife.
Yeah.
And now like his wife died from it, and now he's trying to like...
Yeah. Also never got to see The Lion King.
We were going to see The Lion King.
But in a sad way this time.
But it was her wish, and she never got to see it.
It was the only thing she wanted, and we had just saved up enough money.
What she got to see was cats. She hated it. She wanted to see the lions. I got confused with what kind of cat she wanted to see.
I remembered it was cats, but I didn't know which kind, and lions are frightening to me, but not as frightening as those cats I saw on the stage that day. Mr. Mistopheles haunts my waking dreams.
So how can we show that, like, he's
for like the sick character who's like working with like purpose here, you have to have like a twinkle of like you have to have his eyes be more focused. He needs to have a bit of like a purpose in his eyes. Like he's about to say something with gravitas.
Like he's fighting through this illness instead of like giving in. Like, I need to stick around and beat this illness and make sure that the attention's being given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he through a force of will, through an effort, he is focusing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Yeah. Maybe his hair is like pretty good, other than like
a little sweat matted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like sticking to his head a little bit.
I gotta go blow my nose real quick. I'm sorry.
How dare you? But does this make sense, chat? Is this all making sense to y'all? I know this is like a weird poll, but it is the one that I was given by Mystery Plots Generated. Maybe this guy's like... Okay, great. Thank you. Maybe this guy's also dressed like... Shut up! Maybe he's dressed like he's rich, but doesn't really know how to dress himself. Like his wife always picked out their outfits, but he still has money. And like the fact that he has money is what's allowing him to afford to recreate the illness or... So everything's like still pretty pristine. And that's not to say that like more realistic equals more villainous. Spoiler alerts for Draw Detective Season 2. The person who did it is the one of the least complicated looking characters in the show. But like, you know, if you wanted to do a more simplified version of this, like in this style, you'd just like, you know, something like this. These are my first drawings of the day. But, you know, he's still got the eye bags. He's still, like, older. Okay. His hair's, like, stuck to his face. You know. No, he's still got, like, blankets over here.
Sorry, my nose is bleeding.
Your nose is bleeding?
I have a bloody nose.
What the heck?
So it might be a minute.
That's fine. Take your time. Jacob's got a bloody nose. All right. So then we have to draw supporting characters that sort of fit the vibe here. So let's draw like some of the hotel. What is happening? What is happening? Yeah, whatever. Oh my god, that's a horrible font replacement. Jacob's keyboard's so loud. I say that as someone who's no longer using a mechanical keyboard. Well, it is mechanical, I just have quieter switches. Okay, so let's draw some supporting characters, because the supporting characters help you establish a norm or, you know, have a purpose or, you know, show you what kind of clues they would have, or if they have their own motivations. Like, you know, maybe we have the person who owned the hotel back when the hotel had the first case, and now he's nervous that it's gonna like come out and then no one's gonna come visit the hotel anymore. Like maybe he's worried that this is what's gonna like break the business. Like maybe the hotel is secretly struggling a little bit despite the facade. So we could have him like, you know, unbuttoned, which the only other character we've seen so far who has like an unbuttoned shirt is the sick character. You know, or maybe like his tie is loose. Alternatively, you could have his tie be like way too tight, you know, like he's trying to cover up for how bad he feels. You okay?
Yeah, I think I got the mystery illness.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a crazy coincidence because I had just gotten us 2 tickets to see The Lion King.
Oh, great.
Which I know you have always wanted to see.
I've definitely never seen it before.
I know. It would be a grand betrayal if you had ever seen it before.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Lion King musical?
I have, yeah.
Wow.
I went as a school trip in like 7th grade or something.
Yeah, some of us didn't have that option because we didn't live in New York. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
So
it was pretty cool. Pretty cool field trip.
Maybe you should take me to see The Lion King then.
Do you want to see The Lion King? I'll see The Lion King.
Not really.
What the hell? So I'm talking about supporting characters. As you can tell by this font that's changed. We're doing supporting characters.
Yes.
So I think that a good supporting character to have is the owner of the hotel. Like maybe he owned the hotel when the mysterious illness was around in the past, and is like really scared that this news is going to come out, and then like the hotel's going to close.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm talking about like you can do that in some different ways, where you can have him be like this outfit's like a little disheveled, like he's been pulling at it and like,
yeah, sure.
Like, oh, I need to breathe a little bit more. Or he could be like trying to compensate for feeling out of control by like having his outfit be too tight, you know,
right.
Which is a little more subtle. But like,
yeah, it depends on how you want the character to react to anxiety.
Yeah.
Does he react by being like anxious?
Yeah.
Does he react by being angry? Does he react by shutting down?
And is that something you can use for the story later? Like, you know, maybe there was a piece of evidence, but because he reacts to anxiety in sort of like a panicked way, he just like saw it and threw it out, or he disposed of the evidence, and it wasn't because he was necessarily involved in the crime, but because he doesn't want people to know.
He was frazzled and scared of his hotel's reputation.
Yeah.
And his livelihood.
Yeah.
So maybe he's a frazzled type. Which probably wouldn't make for a great hotel owner.
No. He would be like a little older. Maybe he's been like a little sleepless because he's thinking about the hotel. Or maybe it was like his dad's hotel, and he's trying to continue the legacy, but now that this is happening, he feels like he's failing it. Oh, geez, my dad.
My pa.
But he's still like friendly, you know. He's trying his best.
It's just not good enough.
He's just maybe this wasn't the job for him.
Is that Jay-Z outside?
I think Jay-Z is outside of our apartment right now.
Jay-Z's driving by our apartment and rapping.
I've made modern Fred Flintstone.
You kind of have. That's fine. He can look like Fred Flintstone. My hotel. Bonnie.
Yeah, he's like... And he like forgot to shave in like the shuffle this morning. So he's got like... It's a better way to display that. Which is this? Well, I don't want it to be that dark. There we go.
Yeah, I got the 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
Probably like some stains. Coffee stains.
Yeah, like he was on the phone with someone and he spilled coffee on himself.
Yeah, he's not been sleeping well. So he's been drinking lots of coffee. Which would be a good foil for Sam Perley. Who's like, you know, it's very important to get your 8 hours of sleep. I kind of see Sam Perley as like a Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
What's his name? Agent...
Chat will know.
What's the name of the detective in...
I've only seen one season.
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
Where he's just like relentlessly positive. Such a good character type.
Maybe his like suit's falling apart. That's something that I wanted to talk about too, is like, you know, the complexity of some character designs. Like he has like a hair sticking up over here. How do you show a character who's like faking it? And I think maybe this is a good character to show faking it. Of, you know, he's faking being the rich, like the rich owner of a fancy hotel. Like, what if, like, this is a coat he bought years ago? Like, what if the suit is one that he bought years ago, and now it's like a little tight, you know, and it like doesn't fit him very well anymore. Or what if it's like there's like a tear at the seam?
But it's all like name brand.
Yeah.
Like it's very like expensive clothing that has not been well taken care of.
Yeah. Like
I think that shows well that he's like trying to like wear the trappings of wealth.
Yeah.
Without actually like embodying it in the way he lives. It doesn't match him.
Yeah. So maybe he's got
tie's too short.
Oh yeah. I like that.
It's not tied right. It's like the bottom part of the tie is longer than the like
sticks
I like
out the
that.
back. Like he couldn't even.
Yeah.
He didn't even have time or, you know, care or thought, or he wasn't like mentally there to, you know, do it properly. I want him to have like.
Rebecca Roney said Gus Valentine Kijinka. It's another Beacon Pines reference, but you're not wrong.
It's like his name. I'm gonna name him Gus. Yeah.
I gotta look up the name of the detective from Twin Peaks because no one would tell me. What's the point of having a chat?
It's true.
Cooper.
Like Detective Cooper, yeah.
It's not like Dale Cooper, yeah. Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Maybe he's like, no, I want the bottom of his tie to stick out. Maybe it's like.
Yes, Jamie, I wanted you to Google Twin Peaks Detective. Instead, I had to Google Twin Peaks Detective, which is unacceptable.
And like his posture. If he's like, whenever he's talking to the detective, what if he's just like really straight on, like, yes, I'm here. But what if he's like also like hiding a little bit, like, I didn't do anything. I definitely didn't throw something out. I definitely want to be here. I definitely want to see. I think that would be it. Is like he wouldn't want to necessarily know what's going on with the investigation because he's scared.
So maybe he's got kind of a hunch.
Yeah.
A little of a like closing in on himself posture.
Yeah, like his hands are up. Like he's
worried he's just gonna get in some kind of trouble.
Yeah. And also, like, if he doesn't look at it, maybe he won't have to think about it and it won't make him as anxious.
Yeah.
His jacket's like a little too short. But what if his pants are like too long?
Everything a little ill-fitting.
Yeah, but in like different ways.
Yeah.
Like they're not even part of the same suit.
He's wearing his secondhand Giorgio Armani suit.
Yeah.
But the jacket's like Armani and the pants are like Gucci.
Yeah. I like this. So like nervous hotel owner.
His name, you already put Gus on it.
What if his name is like something Gus something? Oh, call me Gus. That's what everyone calls
Probably
me.
Augustus then.
Yeah.
Or like Gustav.
What if his name is like Tommy Gus? Like Junior.
His last name is Junior?
No, like not his last name is Junior, but like he wants to be called Gus because that's like what his dad was called. You know?
yeah.
He's like Gus Junior. Like, yeah, I'm as good as my dad. I'm Gus Junior.
What if he's Tommy Gus Junior Junior?
Okay.
Like his dad's name was Gus Junior. And so he's Tommy Gus Junior Junior. No. Tommy Gus. Last name is written out Junior.
I don't know how to spell Junior.
How do you think it's spelled? Junior.
Jun. Oh yeah.
Then Junior Jr.
Great.
The perfect name.
Yeah. And this is like how I plan Drawtective's characters. Is like I'll do like a little. Usually I'll start with like this shape thing. I'll start with like what's their. How do I picture like what's their like idle stance basically? Like what's their mood? What are they like doing when no one's talking directly to them? And I think a character that might be fun to add. What if we do like the bellhop that knows that the hotel isn't doing well, and that's how like you, the audience, and Pearly.
Did you delete all those images?
What? Oh.
Oh, okay.
What if like you and Pearly like find out that that's like the hotel is in trouble?
So wait, the bellhop does what now?
The bellhop is the one who tells you, the detective, that the hotel's in trouble because he just doesn't care about it as much as.
Oh, so he's like idly chatting about the hotel.
Well, it's like when either like you overhear them speaking to someone saying like, oh, the hotel's in trouble, or you like go up to them and they're like, well, yeah, like Gus isn't going to tell you what's been going on with the hotel because it's his like precious baby, but like this place sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe he's just like it's not his family's legacy, so he doesn't care.
Yeah.
So
sort of a casual underpaid employee look.
Yeah. So like a little looser, like I'm thinking like a lean.
A loose lean. A mean, loose lean.
What if they're like on their lunch break? They're like eating a hero. This is usually how I plot out Drawtective's characters. So then, then we dress them up like maybe because it's like a old school sort of like trying to not change anything but keep the legacy of what the hotel was. He has to wear the stupid bellhop hat.
Yeah, I feel like he's got to have the vibe of like he's technically wearing the uniform.
Yeah.
But incorrectly in various ways because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's like wearing it enough so that no one will yell at him.
Yeah.
No one will hassle him about it.
Because he's realized that it's more trouble than it's worth to like really rebel. Yeah. He has like the jacket open. It's one of those fancy, like, double-breasted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, this guy just, like, doesn't care. Like, covered in crumbs.
He's here for the paycheck.
Yeah. This is, like, the one you're gonna get the information out of.
But his information, too, could be, like, colored by his disdain for
The location.
the company, like the business that he works for, the higher ups, his disdain for like any sort of management structure in general.
Yeah.
He could be like the type of guy that like blames his entire position on like everything else.
Yeah. I like that.
Always saying like if it were him in charge.
Yeah. There we go. So that could be like the bellhop that just doesn't care. He's like so bored. We could have other guests there who maybe are like the room next to the main guy, the sick guy.
I always like the trope of the person who seems to just live in the hotel.
Okay.
Like the person's occupied that hotel room for like the past 20 years.
What if
no one knows where they got their money from?
Okay.
But they always pay on time.
Okay, hold on. Let's have it be like a rich socialite old woman.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she's got like, you know, one of those big jewel earring things that are like.
And she's like always talking about how she's gonna travel to like exotic destinations, but she never leaves the hotel.
Yeah. Or like she wants everyone to believe that she's someone who's just vacationing here.
Mm-hmm. That's what she like tells people she meets at like the hotel bar.
Yeah. What if they're like, you know, they're little ornate sunglasses. Oh my god, this is the Every Lady from the Far Side comic.
You're right. Now she just needs to be talking to like a cow or something.
She's got like but like the bags are showing underneath.
Yeah.
You know, and
a little bit of eccentric dress, maybe like a feather boa.
Oh yeah.
So definitely like a big fur collar of some kind, whether it's like a boa or like a fur coat.
Yeah, which could be like she's trying to cover up, you know, literally and figuratively, and like, you know, blend in a little bit by making less of herself visible.
I feel like she would be the one who's like too eager to help.
See,
and she's like constantly giving the detective information that he doesn't need or care about. But eventually she does have like one piece of thing she thought was not important ends up being like a key clue.
So what I was thinking was that we have her who's like the one who lives here, but then we have like the out of towner, and she's like the one who doesn't want to get the hotel closed because she lives here.
Yeah.
And like this is all she knows, so she doesn't want to give any information away. But then we have like this lady who like does want to gossip because she's like, oh my god, a crime in the city.
Yeah.
You know, like she's really earnest. Like this lady's covered up and doesn't want to be a part of things, but also just wants to talk about herself.
And this is the lady from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Who's like, I knew when I came to the Big Apple.
They warned me about crime. Yeah. She's got like laugh lines. She has like her nose up. She's like getting in everyone's business. you know, she's nosy.
Sure.
She's got a big mouth for talking. It's very silly.
Looks like a Oompa Loompa.
A little bit. And she could also, like... What if she also has a perm, but it's, like, kind of flat? Like, it's not as, like, big and grand as, you know, this lady.
What if her perm goes wide?
Like that.
Yeah, wide hair. Get a different shape out of it.
Yeah.
It's like Carrot Top's grandma.
She's got like sparkling eyes, like, ooh, ask me, ask me. She always has her, like, look at another thing. I heard him.
I noticed that the AC wasn't working. Detective's like, I don't think that's relevant to the case. The bathroom light flickers sometimes.
Yeah, what if she has little glasses? Like she's always looking at the details, like too many details, you know? And what if she has like a little notebook? This is my travel journal. I write down everything. And then like that's a clue. Actually, I feel like it would be on her phone. And then the text would be huge.
There was a strange man I noticed. He tried to steal my bags. Ma'am, that was the bellhop? He was taking your bags up to your room? I don't know. He looked like a shifty type.
I didn't ask anyone to take my bags. I don't trust anyone. Do I have to pay him? It's always my favorite. They only have that guy so he can ask for tips. What? They hired a whole person to get tips from you. Okay.
Well, you're probably not going to tip him anyway.
What if it like is big and it's full of secrets? But I also want her to be like a tourist. What if she was also going to see The Lion King? That would imply another connection. What if she has like her purse up front?
Oh yeah, like all of her important documents in a neck pouch.
I bring my passport no matter where I go. You're in the same country. You didn't even need your passport. What if someone broke into my house and took it while I wasn't there?
I've heard there are people that will kidnap you and take you to Canada. I'd have to have my passport
Canada.
for that.
Yeah. She's got like sensible sneakers on.
Yeah. Skechers.
Yeah. Maybe she's wearing like a little poncho.
Like it's gonna rain.
Like she was going on one of those bus tours. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like this lady's always prepared.
Yeah, but not for the right thing.
Yeah. I want her to be wearing like little like New Balance, you know.
It's fun making characters.
It really is. And then if we had a villain that wasn't the sick person, what kind of villain would that be? Gonna make someone real quick.
It would have to be someone related to both the hotel and the old case.
What if it's the guy's wife that really doesn't want to see The Lion King?
So she's killing people. I was wondering if there was like some sort of like, maybe it has to do with the hotel owner, why he's so anxious is because like, I'm trying to think of a way to say somebody pays the hotel to not pay attention to certain parts of it.
Right.
And the hotel is like on hard times. It's like used to be a rich hotel. Now it's kind of run down.
Yeah.
And it's able to stay open because of the subsidies from this benefactor, with the caveat that they have to like, you know, do these weird little things like don't check room 307 this week. And that's why it goes with like the owner's like thing of like, he's always looking the other way. Like if he doesn't look at the problem, it's not real. I don't know. It could be something like that.
But why does this character want to kill that man who wants to go see The Lion King?
Well, I mean, that man's probably got other stuff going on too. Maybe he's an important diplomat. Maybe he's a rival businessman.
All right, so we just want...
I mean, it doesn't have to be that. That's just what I thought of.
Yeah.
It can be the guy's wife who doesn't want to go see Lion King. But I don't know how she would be connected to the original crime. Maybe someone else tried to make her go see Lion King 30 years ago.
Maybe she knew of the original crime and was like, oh, it's the perfect place because like it has to do with the hotel, not like a specific person. You know?
Could be.
I'm drawing his edgy granddaughter who's cosplaying as Joan of Arc for Halloween. You know, but we want like another triangular shape. We only have a couple minutes left, so I'm wrapping this up.
Yeah, I feel like when you're making like characters like this, you just want to be asking yourself a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And then answering those questions.
Yeah.
If we had more time, I'm sure we could generate a satisfying conclusion to this mystery, but that's not the purpose of this portion of the creative process.
Yeah.
This one's about creating compelling characters that look like, that have the visual elements that indicate their history and their personality.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things.
Like this lady just, you know, straight chopped her hair. Maybe she found having longer hair inconvenience, or sitting down to have any attention to her style is inconvenient. So she doesn't like, you know, she just wants everything to be cut and dry. I hope that this class was helpful to people.
I feel like it was a fun one.
You liked it?
Yeah. It's just fun coming up with stuff.
It is.
It's fun making up characters.
Yeah.
A thing I recommend if you want to write some characters is if you got someone to do it with, I feel like it's always a lot easier for me. Depends on the type of person you are. Some people are very solitary writers. I always do best when I have someone to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
So that can be a thing too. You can make it a social thing.
I hope that this was helpful to people in, you know, how to think about a character, how to lead people. You basically just need to think of a reason as to why they've made the choices that they have with their style and how it's like affected them, you know. and like think of their mood or think about what's happened to them in that day and to think about the setting and how you play with that a little bit. So, yeah, but thank you everyone for coming to the class. I know it's a weird time in the day to do this thing, but we appreciate everyone for showing up.
Yeah, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much for your support.
The learner tier.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And next month, we're doing both of the bonus streams really early.
Yeah.
So first Friday of November will be the bonus.
Which is next Friday.
Patreon stream, which is next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So next Friday, Patreon bonus stream. Friday after, Drawclass again.
Yep.
I think it might be, is it me? I think it might be me.
Is it you or is it Karina?
I forget.
I don't remember. Either way.
It's someone.
Yeah. And then, because we have Anime NYC.
And then Thanksgiving.
So if you're in New York for Anime NYC, be sure to stop by.
Yeah, and, come see us.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for coming in and joining this class. And we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.